Before we get into this, I'd like to start by saying, in a just world, in a world where everything wasn't so damn crazy, ideally even, people, companies even, especially, should be able to discriminate for whatever reason that they want. That doesn't mean someone has to agree with it. It doesn't mean anybody has to like it. But what it is inherent in private property is the ability to discriminate. Doesn't matter what. Because you don't like the size of someone's nose, race, gender, it does not matter. It is their private property, and if you are the legitimate owner of said private property, you can discriminate. It is inherent in being a private property owner. The game is the game, though. And as this says right here, this was reported a couple of days ago, America First Legal files a federal civil rights complaint against Walt Disney Company for illegal race and sex discrimination. Today, America First Legal filed a federal civil rights complaint against the Walt Disney Company and its subsidiaries for violating the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Y'all know that rotten Civil Rights Act of 1964 by engaging in illegal race, sex, and national origin discrimination. Now, it goes on to list some things here. All Disney General Entertainment productions are required to comply with Disney's D.I.E. inclusion standards, and we covered some of these not too long ago. Some of the standards explicitly provide that 50% of the following jobs must be filled by members of underrepresented groups. And as you see right here, this is what we cover, these inclusion standards. When it comes to on-screen representation, creative leadership, as well as this standard C below the line, they are wanting 50%, and it's basically like not straight white men, essentially is what it is. And yeah, it is objectively discriminatory. And they bring up these other sets of standards and what have you. Disney admits that an example of an inclusion hiring and employee practice is improving access to training and development opportunities for members of underrepresented groups. So it's discriminatory, It is going to prioritize X race, gender, whatever, over others. Scripted and film representation. It's all right here. They listed. If you do want to go to aflegal.org, you can go check this out as far as this complaint. Finally, Disney maintains an illegal grant program that funnels $25,000 to underrepresented directors. The program unlawfully only awards grants to women, AAPI, Black, Indigenous, non-white males, man. Let's just be honest, particularly straight ones, is what this is meaning. Now, this is where it gets hilarious. And again, this is why I said that as well. The game is the game, because these people would have no issues, and they have historically. I mean, how many times over the last decade have we covered these idiotic chumps going after people for discriminatory reasons because they won't bake a cake or something of that nature? We know that the left, they play to win, and they will abuse these nonsensical laws that shouldn't be a thing in the first place. So you can look at this one or two different ways. You can look at this more like it is amplifying the problem, or maybe you can look at it politically, at least strategically. These people are playing to win, and they're using the same laws that have historically been used against them, using the language of them to bring about a more, let's say, preferential outcome. Okay. Like I said, ideally, this wouldn't even be a thing. It shouldn't even be a thing, but this is the game that people have been playing, right? I brought this up not too long ago, even with my own given situation scenario. I'll give you an example. You guys saw. Granted, we came out on top of that, but, there was some things that went down with our character, Isom. You guys know. And, you get these people that have no skin in the game and nothing on the line. They'd say something like, well, like in other instances, not necessarily what happened with Isom, like, hey, you're libertarian, all this IP, your positions on this, and that. Don't you think hypocritical, all this other nonsense. And it's like, bro, you are not awarded for being principled when dealing with the real world. And again, going back to like what happened with the D.I.E, did my principles of being a libertarian or thinking in an ideal world that IP, as people understand it, would not be a thing as it's understood right now. What good does that do, man? Is that going to stop someone from getting sued? No, it's not. It ain't going to stop. They don't care about any of that. The law is the law at the end of the day. And the world is the world. So you can look at it like that. Are they playing? I mean, maybe that's a question for you guys to answer. Are they playing the game to win? Is it, or is it just they're amplifying the actual problem? I don't know. Thanks for watching. Be sure to head over to Rippaverse.com to check out our comic book company. We have books, plenty of merchandise, and even some glorious animations from Rippaverse Studios. Next up, possibly our most anticipated book thus far, D.I.E.